Hello and welcome back to another KCC video. I'm Rob and today we'll be jumping into Entitled Parents. Before we start, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you know when the next video goes live. Our first story today comes to us from TJ Ash. I paid for this so he can do whatever he wants. Let's jump right in. Well, here is my second story here. This one takes place a while back, so I may not remember everything completely. Intro. So when I was 6 or so, I started going to day camps at one of those bouncy castle places. They are still open, so I won't say their name. They had 2 camps, an art camp and a robotics camp. The art was generally little kids, and the robotics camp had a registration age of 8. However, sometimes only one camp would be scheduled, and as such, kids were put in the other camp, even if it meant breaking the age rule. This occurred on one of those days. When I was 9 or 10, I can't remember, they had only 2 kids in art camp, both underage, both 7 if I remember correctly. They were thrown into robotics camp with me and my brother. As you may guess, one of them is the entitled kid in this story. It was well known that me and my brother were the fastest builders in the camp. Even the art kids knew that. So one of the art kids, entitled kid, ran to our table when he came in. A few minutes pass and we begin building, or I should say, entitled kid begins building. He won't let anyone else touch the pieces or instructions. We try to build things, only for him to kick us. So we told on him. The instructors were very nice. Their fake names in this story are Violet and Dustin. I told Dustin that entitled kid wasn't letting us build. Dustin went over and talked to entitled kid. Entitled kid only said one thing. My mom paid for this, I can do whatever I want. In response to this, he was put in timeout for 5 minutes, during which me and my brother completed twice as much as he had done in the past 15 minutes. He came back after the 5 minutes were up and began doing everything again. However, it was time to go bounce. At this particular place, there were 2 rooms. One had mostly slides in it, room 1, and other was mainly challenges, room 2. Usually, art goes into room 1 and robotics go into room 2. Then we switch. However, since there wasn't any art today, we were allowed to go in both. I ran into one and began climbing an absolutely massive slide they have. It is actually 2 stories high and you get going fast. To climb it, you walk up a slope, climb a ladder, walk up another slope, and you're at the top. So I was climbing up the ladder when someone tugs on my legs. I immediately fall off the ladder and slide down the slope, which was not meant for that, so it was not a smooth slope. During this fall, I looked up and saw entitled kid laughing. In the end, my left knee was split open in a nasty rug burn. Of course, I go to tell on entitled kid again. I go to Dustin and tell him what happened and show him my rug burn. He was already annoyed at entitled kid already. I think he liked easy days and went up to confront him. As he goes over there, he pulls another kid down. This is the following confrontation. Of course, it's not 100% correct, but here it is anyway. Why are you pulling kids off the slide? Gestures at me and the girl he pulled down, who's now crying. My mom paid for this. I can do whatever I want. There are rules you have to follow. If you don't follow them, we will call your parents and they will come pick you up. But I say you won't do that, and you must do whatever I want because my mom paid for this. You have one more chance, then I'm calling your parents and you're going home. No, you won't. I thought Dustin was just done and walking away, but he kept his eye on entitled kid. I went to room 2 and played freeze tag with a few other kids. Entitled kid did not give us any more problems. After 30 minutes, it was time for lunch. For lunch at this place, you can either bring your own or they would order pizza from a local place. If you wanted some, then you could pay extra with the camp, or on Thursdays, pizza was free. Today was not a Thursday, so pizza wasn't free. You got 3 slices only, no seconds. Me and my brother always got pizza, so did most of the kids. But of course, entitled kid's mom decided she was going to cheat. She didn't pack him a lunch, but also didn't pay for pizza, knowing that entitled kid would undoubtedly get pizza because he otherwise wouldn't have anything to eat. So the kids who ordered pizza were called up to get it, and the kids who had brought lunch began eating. But entitled kid was sitting at his table all alone. Other kids realized he was a jerk without any food. He's looking at the pizza like it was his. Dustin noticed that he had nothing and went over to talk to him. "Where's your food, entitled kid?" "I didn't bring any." "Why not?" "My mom said I would get pizza, so give me it now." "You're not on the list." "I can do whatever I want. My mom paid for this, remember?" "She didn't pay for the pizza." "Well, I'm hungry." Looks at Violet. "Can you write down that we need to charge entitled parent for pizza? I don't want to forget." "All right." Writes down on a pink sticky note. "Done." Okay, gets up, gets 3 slices of pizza, and gives them to entitled kid. "I want 4 slices." "Nope, only 3 slices, and that's final. But you're lucky you even get pizza, so stop it, okay?" Walks off to his desk. The rest of lunch was uneventful. After lunch, it was time to continue building and playing with the robot. Of course, we were only 4 steps in because entitled kid was so slow. Dustin offers us, me and my brother, a different kit, and of course we say yes. We finish it in about 10 minutes. Entitled kid was still on step 5. However, entitled kid is bored of building and decides he wants to play with the robot. Luckily, he doesn't ask us first. Instead, he goes to a different group and just takes the robot off the table and takes it to the play area. The kids he took it from immediately complain to Violet. Violet goes to him and asks him what he is doing. Entitled kid doesn't respond. This time, Violet tries a different approach. "Did you finish your robot yet?" "Yes, it's right here. Are you blind?" "What about that one over there?" Points at his robot. "That's theirs." Points at group who he took the robot from. "They say that your robot is theirs." "They're lying." "Are you sure you're not lying?" "It wouldn't matter if I was, because my mom paid for this, so I could do whatever I want." Violet then gets up and goes to the front desk. She tells the receptionist, I'm assuming, something that I don't know, then comes back in. She tries a friendly approach one more time before looking at the kit number he had, then looking at the brain number. Not surprisingly, they didn't match, though they matched with the other group's kit. The robots were swapped, and after about 30 more minutes, during which entitled kid did maybe 2 more steps, it was time to do some competitions. They had maybe 4 competitions they would do, and if you won one, then you got a bopper, basically an inflatable mallet. These competitions are only available to the older kids, the reason being that the little kids would all want a bopper. The particular competition that day was a hide-and-seek game where you were trying to find an inflatable llama, if I remember correctly. Dustin went and hid it, then released us to go find it. After about 10 minutes, I found it on one of the bouncy castles. We bounced for a little, then returned to the room to wait for pickup. While we were there, I received my bopper. It was only my first or second one, so there was no way I was giving it up. Only one kid wanted one too. Of course, it was entitled kid. He was complaining the whole time until his entitled mother arrived. Entitled mother was apparently rushed because she had to pay for the pizza, so she grabbed him, rather roughly I should add, and pulled him to the reception area. There was some shouting as she probably argued, "No one would have eaten that pizza if my son hadn't, so I don't need to pay," or something like that. Then my mom came. Me and my brother grabbed our shoes, put them on, and went out. I was still carrying the bopper. This is when the final encounter occurred. I had just walked out of the side room when entitled kid saw me. He began crying again. He had stopped when his mother was arguing with the receptionist. Entitled mother turned and asked him what was wrong. He pointed at my bopper but didn't say anything. Entitled mother saw it and realized that her son didn't have one, so she had to complain. Ahem, why did my son not get one of those? Points at bopper. He didn't win the challenge. You can buy one over there though. Points at the wall that has boppers on it. Well, he got it for free. Why can't my son have one too? I already told you. Give me one already. I'm so sick of this place. Entitled kid continues crying. However, I go out the door and didn't get to hear the rest of the argument. I don't even know if entitled mother ever paid for the pizza. On the way back home, mom tells me and my brother to never be a parent like that, etc., etc. I never saw Entitled Mom or Entitled Kid again. Something tells me they were banned from returning. Well, one thing that kid doesn't understand is that everybody's parents paid for them to be there. If they're above the rules, then everyone is above the rules. It just doesn't work that way. It's great to see so many people building up the KCC community, but the majority of you watching this video right now aren't actually subscribed. If you're enjoying this daily Reddit content, please hit that subscribe button. It's free and you can always reverse it later. Our second story today also comes to us from TJ Ash. I got on a train with a Karen who's the attendant. Let's jump right in. You know those stories where a Karen starts bugging you on a train and you have to call the attendant to save you? Well, what do you do when the attendant is the Karen? Backstory. So I'm on vacation with my family in Colorado. We landed at Denver Airport on July 5th, 2019. From Denver, we began doing random tourist attractions in Colorado, mine tours, scenic train rides, national parks, etc. After a day in Denver, July 6th, we went to Alamosa, Colorado. Then, the next day, July 8th, we rode the Rio Grande Scenic Railroad. The train was entirely first-class seating. Only one car had been filled, and the train was around 6 cars long. Open air car, coach, full dome, rear observation. The host said that we could go anywhere we wanted on the train, except the engine, of course. At all times, unless it was cordoned off, remember this. So all was fine in the morning. We got up early, we got donuts at Walmart, and drove to the train depot. After an hour of waiting, we boarded the train and left, heading towards Blanca, Colorado. An hour later, we get there and pick up the rest of the passengers. Then lunch is served. We are well on our way into the San De Cristo Mountains when my twin brother ventures his way into the vestibule at the rear of the train, where you can look out the back. That's where Karen comes in. "What are you doing back here?" "I'm looking out the vestibule." "Why don't you go into the open air car?" He had been out there with my dad right before this, and it was hecka loud, as it was right behind the engine, which was at notch and run 8. That's really loud, and I'd rather look out the rear of the train." "I told you to go into the open air car. Now go out there." The host said we could go anywhere unless it was cordoned off." "This is cordoned off." No it's not." Karen storms away in a huff. I'm still in the dome car, oblivious to this Karen. My brother told me after the incident on the way back. But when the train starts to go downhill, she comes back and says this to my brother. "Now we're going downhill. Get in the open air car as there is no noise now." My brother once again ventured out to the open air car, only to find that the locomotive has turned its dynamic brakes on. It makes a very loud whining noise. Well, now the dynamics are on, and that makes just as much, if not more, noise. Dynamic braking? Stop making things up. I've worked here for years, and I've never heard of them. Yeah, just leave me alone. Karen walks back out and doesn't re-enter until we reach La Vida, Colorado. Once we arrive at La Vida, Colorado, we are handed maps of the town for our 1-hour break. We decide to hang around the park immediately next to the tracks. When my dad decides to take a picture of the taillight of the Caumet Club, the car on our rear, he walks out to take a picture. He has to stand on the tracks when Karen comes back. "Hey, get away from there. There is a train coming." "I just want to get a picture of the taillight." "Well, there's a train coming. Move." Keep in mind, he is directly behind our train. So if a train did come, there would be a wreck. Whatever. Then we went to an ice cream shop to get as far away from Karen as we could. But there's still the return trip. So we board the train and leave the dome car to go to the open air car, now at the rear of the train. Me and my brother sit down and enjoy the view as seen from the back. We pass some roads until we're back into the mountains. We pass through Occidental, Colorado, and that is when Karen comes and decides to annoy us again. We are pointing at some flipped over hopper cars that has a bear on them when Karen comes back. The following conversation went like this. "Why aren't you in the vestibule now? You said it has a good view." Because we like looking out the rear of the train, and that is now the front. "Just do what I say. Haven't you learned to respect your elders?" She's like 50 or 60. "Well, we don't know you, and you need to stop bossing us around like you own the train." "My 6-year-old granddaughter is more behaved than you." "Sure, Karen." In my head, well, my baby cousin, 4 months at the time, is more behaved than you. Move away now. Well, we can be anywhere on this train that we want. Karen leaves us again and we go back to enjoying the ride. A few minutes later she comes back but is now trying to act all nice and concerned for well-being. Please move away from the back as the emergency brake is very touchy and I wouldn't want you to get in trouble with the railroad. She has a smile that says that's exactly what she wants. Okay, fine, you found a valid excuse. Me and my brother go to sides of the rear, not near the emergency brake. So a few minutes pass by and our parents call us over for a snack, but it turns out Karen was spreading rumors now. Here, come and have a snack. Me and my brother begrudgingly walked over. So, how's the trip? Good? Yeah. Why did you move from the back? Because Karen said she didn't want us to mess with the emergency brake? That's what I thought. She was also spreading rumors that you were hanging your feet off the back of the train. We were sitting so we wouldn't get tired. Ironically, the next day we stood up for over 8 hours on another train. What? That was her? Yes, it was. I saw her talking to them first. He points at a family of 3, a mother, a father, and a child, around our age, who was also at the rear with us. That is so not cool. She really should lose her job. She can be entitled sometimes too, but in this case, it was the truth. Me and my brother go back to where we were, and a few minutes pass. Then, 3 younger kids show up and go to where we were earlier. A girl around 9. The view is so much better back here. I know, right? A boy around 7. What's this? Points at the emergency brake. Oh, that's the emergency brake. Don't touch it or else Karen. Kid 3, a boy of around 8, starts to try to turn it. Stop, don't touch that. Why? Because you're going to stop the train and get Karen on your back. Ignores us. Well, me and my brother say screw it and went back to the seating, so Karen wouldn't blame us. Of course, she still would, or before she came back and got mad at the kids. However, she saw them and didn't do anything about it. That's when my dad went over to tell them to stop. Please stop, you don't want to stop the train, do you? They stop playing with the emergency brake. Dad walks away, but then they start playing with the ladders. The ladders on this particular car folded in and became part of the floor when they weren't in use. To fold them down, you had to swing part of the gate out to allow the stairs to lock in down position. Fortunately, they didn't figure out how to swing open the gate, cause otherwise one of them would have fallen out. They could still lift the stairs up a little, but it wasn't enough. Eventually, I got sick of the racket. Please stop, you shouldn't be doing that, and it's making a lot of noise. All right. Just then, their mom came into the car. Come on, kids, let's go back into the dome car. We're nearing the summit, and I want to be there for the rest of the ride. The kids and their mom walk away. However, Karen still hasn't left. After they leave, she comes up to us. Stop scaring off people. They're paying customers and didn't pay to have someone harassing them. Neither did we. Wait, who's harassing you? I never saw anyone near you besides those poor kids. Just go away. Karen does as she's asked for once. I think it's really funny that she didn't know I was talking about her. She never did bother us again for the rest of the ride. I think she figured out that I meant that it was her who was harassing us. I enjoyed the rest of the ride Karen-free and went to Chili's after we got back to Alamosa. But there's more. 2 months later, the railroad declared bankruptcy and began selling assets. So unless another company comes along, buys new engines and rolling stock, they are permanently closed. So this Karen messed up what may very well be my only ride here. So thanks a lot, Karen. I enjoyed the rest of the trip, which I may write about on r/Colorado sometime. I may come back, although I think next time I'll book the Karen-free section. Karen just seems like one of those people who just wants to watch the world burn. Honestly, this last story was a little hard to follow, but in the end, the railroad shut down and Karen lost her job. Justice was served. Thank you to OP/TJ Ash for posting both of these stories in the Entitled Parents subreddit. They are linked in the description down below. Please go check them out. Check out one of these other videos, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories.